Well, welcome everyone to Vitality Buzz with us. I'm very excited to introduce two published authors artists, the famous Claire Long and the famous Mike Eck, who are going to tell you about their reading and coloring book and the wild story of With You in Our Dreams. And I don't know who's going to lead off to start telling the story, but it's a pretty wild story how this book came together, yeah?
I agree. I think Mike should start it. It was his dream behind it.
I would be happy to. Thank you. You know, I had been journaling my poems for 4 or 5 years and knew that some of the books of poetry that I'd seen, the poems were complemented by sketches and drawings by artists like Nikki Giovanni and Thomas Merton and others. I could go on and on, but I'll just say that I was inspired to, I need to find an artist to make this one poem really come alive. So for 2 or 3 years, I was looking for an artist. And then along the way, I discovered that a very good friend had a gift I didn't know about. And I'm going, oh my God, it was an oh my God experience. Claire is an artist. And I didn't know that. So one thing led to another, and we worked together to develop an idea and completed the coloring book with Julie Lucas, the daughter of another friend, Carol Yazell. And we wouldn't have done this without the help of another friend, Brian, who is the director of Vitality, Buzz, Bliss, and Book. So it all came together, and none of this would have happened without the opportunity to publish with Vitality Buzz. And so this is an invitation to everybody who's watching this, to join in the fun and get connected with Vitality in one of its many, many programs.
I completely agree. I was just, to me, it's just so neat as far as I'm very lucky to have such interesting friends. And the fact that Mike had this talent that I had no idea. I've known you probably almost 8 years, Mike, you and Denise, and this had never come up. I had no idea the gift that you had. And what's fun is that when you shared that, I felt open and not afraid to share my gifts, what I love to do, what I normally wouldn't show to other people, just because I didn't consider them good enough. And I just think this also just reinforces that we are all here to encourage each other. And with you and Brian and Julie, and it just makes me feel that I am finally able to call myself an artist, which I was not able to before. In my mind, I just wasn't good enough. But with your encouragement and I was so tickled that you even asked me, and I kept telling you, if it's not good enough, just tell me, I'll fix it. And yet you were so kind and so encouraging. It was just amazing how easy it was, because you encouraged me, and I was just so amazed at the whole thing. And Brian and Julie, it's just amazing. It was meant to be.
Would you want to tell us a bit about, what is this book? What is inside this creation? Describe it for us.
Well,
it's a poem you wrote, right, Mike? And who did you write?
Yeah, it was a poem about dreams, and dreams have fascinated me for years. I was journaling my dreams 10 years ago. And some of them are fascinating, and some of them are just plain weird. So just say that I think we as humans have a lot more to learn about dreams. Do we dream together? What do the dreams mean? I think there's a lot to learn and know. So this was my way when combining the fact that our daughter and her family are 14 hours away from us by car. It was in the winter of 2020, right before COVID, where I just sat down and I journaled this dream poem about, being with our grandchildren in our dreams. And it, the opening hit me like a bolt of lightning. And then when I woke up, I had to immediately write down that initial concept, and then it just flowed. It just came forward. And so that's how the poem for me came to be. Now, some of the illustrations and the cover, that's another story on how it came to be. And we'll save that for a few minutes later. So for me, that's how it came to be. Dreams and the mystery about them.
Love it. Once you heard that poem or read that poem, Claire, something happened inside of you. Yeah, that images showed up, right?
Absolutely. It just touched me with such nostalgia, and it was just the connection between, especially the story behind it because of his grandkids. It was just so amazing to think that I was asking Mike for pictures of his grandkids because I wanted them to be in the coloring book. I wanted them, to be able to be part of this story as they were part of the birth of this book. So it's just, it was just really fun, and every time I kept thinking, oh, this is what I used to love to do as a kid. So let me put that in there and let me do this. And it was just kind of fun how then as I gave things to Mike, he kept saying, like there's a page in there about kids skating. And he said, that's how he met Denise, his wife, and I just kept thinking, oh, just skating to me was such a thing with my kids. I mean, with my parents growing up in Connecticut. So it was really fun how it kept sort of interweaving all our memories and it just flowed. It was just really cool. I was just so touched by it. And especially now my kids are grown and they live elsewhere. And then I kept thinking that this really, can be for anyone. It's for anyone whose loved ones, are, with my nieces live overseas, or my sister is also overseas, and there's grandparents and aunts and godparents and just old childhood friends, that we can connect with this way. It's just a book that just talks about, and a poem that just talks about how love transcends. It really, it's bigger than all of us, and we really are connected, whether we see it at that moment or not. We just have to hold on to it and know that you are loved by others. I love the poem. I still do.
Thank you, Claire.
It's beautiful. Absolutely. It sounds like you both were very much dreaming together. Like something was happening beneath the surface of like, oh, wait a minute, that's important to me. What you drew there is important to me. And oh, that verse that you have right there, that reminds me of this in my life. And
absolutely.
Interconnectedness. Right? Of just
and if I could
experience.
Yeah, and if I could add about Julie Lucas, the graphic artist who brought so much forward, the big picture, the precision, her curiosity about some things that really polished this off. So Julie, who I still have not physically met, but through email and exchanges in the creative process, and really helped bring this all together.
She's been a great gift for Vitality, for sure. I mean, from designing our logos back in 2010 all the way to now, working so much with our books.
Yeah, and Mike, I'm sure you felt the same way, having Julie and Brian be just as excited when we share this stuff with them. And it's kind of like, oh, that's so nice that they like it too, that it's just that it was definitely a team effort, that it was, everybody has their gifts for a certain reason, and it all came together. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, Brian's encouragement and his support. And when we tell the story of how the cover came to be, there's a funny little story about Brian's addition to the creative process that we'll get to here in a minute. So.
And before we do that, this is a book for everybody too, right? It's for young readers and older readers, right? I mean, younger colorers, drawers, and older drawers, right? It's not just for kids. Can you say something about this?
Go ahead, Claire. You go first on this one.
Well, thank you. I'm just hoping that people see that coloring books are just it's just another way to take someone's story and make it your own. I mean, you are adding the colors that you love. You are adding textures or patterns, and I mean, everyone who colors each page is going to be different. And I just want to encourage people, and I learned this through the process, that we all really are artists. We all have art inside of us, whether it be the gift of words, or whether it be singing, whether it be music, whether it be you know, art, drawing, sculpture, anything. There's so many different ways. You just need to find your own way. You know, so it's really for all ages, because art is inside all of us. We just need to find the way that we can express it, the way that brings joy to us, because it's meant to be shared. It's we all have gifts that are meant to be shared. So I just think this coloring book, it's really fun to me to see some finished pictures, because I have yet to color one, truthfully. I saw what I envision in my head what Mike's words meant to me, and I drew them in black and white. And I had colors in my head as I'm drawing them, but I have never colored it in. So I am just so excited when I see some finished colored pages, because it's the same structure, obviously, because it's still got the lines in there, but it's a different painting. It's a different expression of the same thing. And that's what I love about coloring books. They let people feel comfortable and just almost meditatively to be able to color in. You don't have to worry. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be great. But it gives you an ability to express yourself. And then down the road, you can do your own drawings and then color them in or not. And that's really all that painting is just the same thing. So I think anyone who starts here, I encourage them to find their own art and find their own gift to the world. I think that we all, and one last thing I just want to say on this, and I'm sorry I'm going on, but what's also so neat is to be able to share it, meaning just to show someone else. And we all are our own almost worst, critic kind of thing. And so I really grew during this, because Mike and Brian and Julie, just kept encouraging me, and they weren't looking for the faults in the lines that I drew. They instead were looking at the big picture, what I was drawing. And through this, you have taught me to call myself an artist. And so that's why I just want to encourage everyone that everyone has an art to share, something to share. So sorry to go on. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. I'll add that, so when this project started, our grandson Calvin was 8 and Audrey was 6, our granddaughter. And so what I've learned is that when we go visit them, again, 14 hours away by car, when we arrive, they want to do things with us. And Audrey would oftentimes come, Grandpa, will you color with me? Calvin would say, Grandpa, will you read with me? So this coloring book and reading book is a way for grandchildren and grandparents, or as Claire said, anybody to sit down with a child and read and color together. This is about whether to do it in person or via Zoom. During the pandemic, we've asked our grandchildren to read to us, and we read to them. So as we brought this forward, we realized and learned at the time Audrey was a first grader that she could read these words out loud. So we know we've targeted this, or it's by accident really, that this is a poem that can be read by a first, second, third grader, that age group. but yet there's some depth, I think, in regards to multiple relationships, as Claire has articulated with whomever that might be, and this added dimension about dreams. So this coloring book is an invitation to uh, to to enjoy it with others, with children, and have fun.
And it is fun. It is fun. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the cover?
Well, if you could bring up the first photograph, Brian.
Sure. The photograph. Here we go.
So it was the summer of 2016. On the left is my wife. Her name is Denise. That's her dad. Calvin, that's great grandpa Bud. And that's our grandson, Calvin, Bud's great grandson. And they're at the Butler County Air Show, remote control air show. And this is one of our famous family photos. And Denise actually took this picture from behind. And so this became the inspiration when Claire and I started to think about working together. This, I thought, could be the basis, the potential basis for the cover. So Brian, so I took a stab at sketching something. And Brian, if you'll bring
the first sketch. Here we go. Is that the right
one? I took a shot at drawing that with eliminating all the busyness around the two of them. And I thought, well, now by the time I drew this, Bud had passed away. So that Bud passed away in 2019. We miss him. It's good that he got to know both of his great-grandchildren. And so that's Calvin on the right. And then, Audrey wasn't at the air show. She was too little to go that day in 2016, but we added her. And you'll notice up in the upper left-hand corner, Audrey's pointing at something. Now, we'll just call those helicopters for now. But Audrey's pointing to the missing person formation in the military. Bud served at the end of World War II in the occupation in Europe. And so he's missing now. He's missing from our lives, but in our dreams, he's still there. And the rainbow is really drawn for my mother, Pinky, who passed away at a very young age when she was only 47. And so I see my mom in every rainbow. I see her in every rainbow.
Oh.
And that piece I chose to add to this rough sketch. And then I learned Claire had a gift. I said, Claire, could you take this and run with it? So Brian, if you could segue now to, this is Claire taking command.
Is that the right one? Yeah.
Go ahead, Claire.
Well, thank you. I was hesitant to draw because I knew your drawing meant so much to your family and everything. But I was so touched the fact that your father-in-law was gone, and so and just to me the symbolism of the rainbow and it was just, I was honored to do it. It was really fun. It was really fun.
So now Brian enters the picture. When we shared this with Brian, and we thought, we were noting the missing man, the missing person formation in the military because Bud was gone. And then Brian suggested, if this is going to be a coloring book for kids, we might not want jet fighters in there. So we had fun with that. And I said, Claire, what do you think? And then Claire had this great idea to retain the missing person formation, but to add a different dimension. And then Brian, if you'll bring up the final cover of the coloring book, we'll see that what Claire came up with. Geese. Yes.
I think it's fun. And it's just so fun to see the whole project finish. I mean, from your start, and I think it's so neat that this is a drawing that you had done, Mike. I mean, it was your, I mean, the whole poem, it was inspired by your family and by your life and by your grandkids, and the fact that we can take your picture, just spruce it up a little bit, and make it the cover of this book, which is all about family. I think it was just fun. It was really
Yeah. And I'll add Julie came in here too at this phase. Is this was a black and white image submitted to Julie Lucas, who then graphically added the colors. So the only piece of this coloring book that has color is the cover, and the front and back, and that the rest of the pages are in black and white. So we will always be thankful for Brian, you suggesting that we include Julie in this process, that she brought the cover to life with all these beautiful colors. Yeah, Claire.
She did. Yeah, no, I was just going to say, it was really fun when I first saw it, when she had added the colors. It was kind of like, oh, what a difference between black and white and color, and especially for the coloring book. I mean, it really inspires that it's all, you can make it what you want. It is just waiting for color. It's just waiting for life to be added to it. I think that's really fun. So fun.
Beautiful, beautiful story too, just of how this came to be, both the poem and the cover. This is quite incredible.
Thanks, Brian.
Can I just throw in, there's also kind of fun is also in the coloring book, there's a picture of two adults, or they could be, in this case, I was picturing grandparents sitting with the grandkids looking at, I have them as hot air balloons, but it was a picture that Mike had given to me that Denise and her dad and the kids were looking at the blimp, the Goodyear blimp kind of thing. And so we were able to just sort of take that picture from his story and then make it into something that the kids would be, as I've always been amazed by hot air balloons kind of thing. Yeah. And so and that is just so fun to be able to take things and just weave them all together, which is kind of like a tapestry when you think of it. It's really kind of cool. It's really fun.
It's an inspiring project and an inspiring book, really about love in so many ways, and I think that's a message needed more and more these days in our world, it seems like. So what a gift that multiple generations can sit together and wonder about that together. And, sometimes the wondering happens in the silence and the just coloring in, shading things, creating in the margins, right? And sometimes it happens through words. Sometimes it happens by reading the poem, So many gifts. In
fact, I haven't shared with you too, but my mom was an artist. I think you know that. She had just one sister still alive. She unfortunately died last month. But my Aunt Ardith down in Virginia, she's a very good artist. I mean, her stuff, she's amazing. But I sent her one of the coloring books. And so my cousins would say, hey, Mom colored another page of your coloring book. And I thought, here is this artist. I mean, she sold her stuff for hundreds, if not $1,000 kind of. I mean, she's just very well known in the DC area. And it's just, I was just so touched, because I almost hesitated sending it to her, but I kept thinking, no, this is my thing I'm very proud of. And, but yet, so she took such joy in doing it too. So it really is, and she was in her 80s, so it's really, adding color, it's just a very restful thing. It lets your mind be creative. It lets you, just embrace, also just the pictures, and the story is all about childhood and love and family. And I think it just touches everybody. I know it just every time I look at it, I'm just, quite a few of my friends are going to get it for Christmas.
Oh.
It's really
And
cool.
everybody can order it. Everybody can order it at vitalitybuzz.org, right? How much does it cost?
It is $10.
$10.
Plus tax.
But it's a bargain. It's a bargain.
What a bargain.
Because it is, as you say, it's a story and it's a coloring book and also it is helping vitality. I mean, it is a support mechanism. So it's like things are going beyond you. Your money is, blessing others. It's not just all about what you receive, but you're also giving, at the same time, so I think it's really cool. I was just honored to be a part of it. It's really fun.
Yeah. And allow me to wrap up just by offering that we are so thankful for Brian and Vitality Cincinnati, and for those budding artists and poets and journalists, is that we really invite you and encourage you to connect with Vitality, specifically with Vitality Buzz, Bliss, and Books, on connecting with Vitality on farms, in gardens, in classes, and specifically there's a journaling with Penny on the third Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. So join in the fun and share with others your gift with us.
Well said. You never know what's going to spring out of that circle of inner journey, of just some idea that you end up writing, right? Each of us ends up writing or drawing or creating in some way.
That's right. For sure. In fact, just a little thing onto that, I just read somewhere recently that you become the people that you surround yourself by. So when you think of it, you really, should just surround yourself by peaceful, loving people who are introspective and it's just that you can find sides of yourself that you didn't even know were there. So it's just really cool. I agree with you. Vitality is awesome.
The power of a circle, right? Power of a circle.
That's right.
Friends, like you said, that lifts everyone up, and we begin to find our way together. That's
for sure. This is really.
I still love this project this gift that you've given the world, and may more and more and more be awakened to the love that you've shared. So thank you both. And
thank you very much.
Thank you for this conversation too. May you inspire many people to keep creating.
That's my hope. People will keep drawing and everything. But now Mike has sort of inspired me. Maybe I should try journaling, try my words. I've never really tried. So yeah, I think we all inspire each other. It's awesome.
Yes, we do.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you all down the path. Looking forward to the second book. Let me know when you're ready.
All right.
Take good care. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.